Well, hi everyone. Hi chat.
Hey everyone.
And hi co-hosts. And welcome everyone to the 10th episode of Red Planet. I'm of course your host BadBunny. I will be rebranding soon. Soon. All right? Soon. It's gonna happen. I know I keep saying it. It's gonna happen though. And of course we're joined by DJ Muel and Conquest of Dread. And Sophie is unfortunately unable to be with us today. So can we get some Let's
get some loves. Let's get some loves.
Yeah.
Get some love in the chat for Sophie.
She's in a bit of a bad way with the old Rona and stuff. So
yeah, she is Corona, and it's like a whole fucking thing. So it always terrifies me when my friends get coronavirus, because it's just like, I mean, obviously it's just, I've somehow still dodged it.
Me too.
You really? Okay. Who else has gotten?
Yeah, I've not had it.
Chat, press 1 if you've had, to your knowledge, have caught the Rona, and press 0 if you haven't yet gotten it. I would like to see.
Okay.
All right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I expect that from Twitch chat. To be honest, I expect that from Twitchers.
Lots of people saying that they just stay inside and that they're hermits.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
And like that's what you should be doing. You really should be doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
so much. I really appreciate
these
that.
fucking governments would get their shit together and pay people to stay at home. I feel like, I was just saying to Muel beforehand, where in New Zealand we're currently having probably our biggest the latest kind of Omicron variant is the first to really kind of take hold in New Zealand. The rest hasn't been as bad as a lot of other places because we were having lockdowns, people getting paid to stay home, all that kind of stuff. But then with this latest one, they've kind of been a little bit more like, fuck it, just deal with it. Just everyone go to work and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you don't need to isolate unless this, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like we've got just thousands of cases every day, and it's
Is it really gone to thousands of cases every day?
Yeah. And for so long we were only getting literally you could count the cases on one hand.
Yeah.
And now it's
I thought
we get 12,000 new a day or something.
Yeah, I thought that y'all basically got rid of it, and now it sounds like shit is just garbage over there. Which
so
sucks.
we had gone down to 0 for all the other variants, like all the regular and Delta and all that kind of stuff. But then it's this Omicron one
How much of that do you think is related to that fucking Corona anti-vaxxer protest you were telling us about? Because you said that they were trying to infect people, right? That's what they were trying to do.
I mean, so no, there were people there saying that they were intentionally going to infect people, but I think that is a minority in there. That's kind of like a weird extremist kind of element. I think the majority of people there probably either didn't believe it was a thing, or believed that it was, a lot milder than it actually is, or, they believed in it, but they were anti-vaccination because they believed some bullshit about that too, whatever. But there was a lot of spread there, and a lot of the movement, their kind of movement leaders or whatever, have come down with coronavirus since. And so, last time we looked at that news story. No, so last time, we looked at that news story about the radiation weaponry that they were convinced was being aimed at them. So they're literally they're doing these Facebook lives with all their fans, and they're coughing and, all this kind of stuff, and they're obviously have all the symptoms of coronavirus, and they're talking about how, I think it was the energy weapons, or, just shit like that. It's
no, bro, you got sick. It's so much more likely that you got sick, even if you don't believe in coronavirus. Maybe you just got flu. It's so absurd.
Exactly. It's so wild to jump immediately to energy weapons as opposed to just, maybe it's another kind of flu or something like that. It's no.
People just say anything.
Weapons.
It's always rich. I mean, this is a tired criticism, but it still doesn't ever cease to be real. These so-called free thinkers, the ones that pride themselves on not being held strict to any sort of worldview, because they're just a bunch of super free thinkers that are not influenced by anything, but they all magically ignore some very obvious first steps. When if you're getting sick, if you feel sick, the first thing you think of shouldn't be an energy weapon. If you do, I feel like you are really not a free thinker, in fact. But these people are insist that they're free thinkers.
It's like they're like anti-mainstream media because it's controlled by the government, and then they're like, I only get my information, my facts from social media that's controlled by private corporations. You know, it's like, yeah, your thoughts are so fucking free right now. They're just it's so free.
Third eye's wide open, so perceptive.
This is also like somewhat related to the fan of like a toxic content creator, whoever it may be. If you ever ask them, like, you say that they're a fan of so and so, they'll say no, they're not a fan. They'll insist that they're not a fan because being a fan means that they're not a free thinker, and it also means that they're like submissive to another man, and that's not like alpha or whatever or sigma or something. And so like this is a very this is extremely common. If there are people like men that are fans of other men that spout political stuff, and then you're like, you're a fan of this person, that's why you're saying this. Like, I'm not a fan. No. I just, I'm allowed to like watch people. I admire him
as an equal.
Right, yeah. They watch them and they just, I watch people I don't agree with fully. I do it all the time. It's, in fact, you should do it. And so that's their reading goal.
Man, get your shit together. What the fuck are you doing? Jesus Christ, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God.
It is. Yeah, so, now that we're all...
Start up.
We're all into it. Should we...
Oh, wait, we should do our picture.
It's time for the picture.
Okay, and then one of you posted on the Red Planet Twitter. Okay? What the hell is this?
This is my picture. It's me.
All right. Is that we're doing this then?
All right. Okay, we got it. I never want to see that again. That was the worst. That was
someone literally in chat said, "Put it away."
That was horrible. But
wait, I've got filters too. I can do it. Wait, here we go.
That wasn't even a filter. That was just a scooped thing that I made with like a PNG. Oh, I love that. Okay, good. Tim, you need to do that. Right, do it again. Do it again.
Wait, are we doing it again? Okay.
Doing it again. Tim's got a filter on.
Right.
I'm the only normal one.
Can you not make yourself?
I'm holding this thing up all by myself. I'm the only credible, like, wow. When this whole
the only adult here.
When I'm the only adult in the room. My God. Okay, well, I'm gonna put up.
What does that say about the room?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Nicole.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna put up a few. I just put up 3, 4.
Brilliant. Okay, shall I post that?
I think yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Brilliant.
Are you able to do the Red Planet Twitter, Muel?
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, cool.
No problem.
I'm just not signed into it. No. Yeah. Can't remember the thing.
Okay, brilliant.
Cool.
I got it.
The last one probably is best.
Yes, it is.
And when I say best, I don't mean that. I mean, whatever the word is for that.
Oh, it's okay. Look, everyone's looking out for you. You got people in the chat saying we're here to support you. Oh, there you go.
Oh, I forgot to do a thing. Oh, okay, so I apologize to everyone who was looking for subtitles for the stream. I forgot to set it up again.
My fault as well.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah,
but I forgot because what I need to do is because their audio doesn't come through my microphone, but in fact comes through a different way. I have to pipe their audio through a program to be able to have subtitles for everyone on screen. And I've failed to do that this week, and I apologize. I will make sure it happens for next week. So
let's all just make it the top of our priority. Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is not an optimal situation, but these episodes do get uploaded to my YouTube, and those YouTube puts auto like subtitles, so that's a quote unquote fix in the interim. But I sincerely apologize. I will be on the subtitle game, and that'll be the next episode. We'll have them set up, hopefully, unless something dramatic happens. So
yeah, defo.
Although I will be moving, chat. I'm moving at the end of this month, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't interfere with any of the episodes.
That'll be cool. I'm sure we can figure something out. But yeah, so should we get into some news and stuff?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I popped a couple things in the notes. It's all kind of like it's all union and strike related this week, which is kind of,
That's dope,
it's
though.
good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off with got this one. Striking workers at large Auckland pallet supplier win new agreement. So this is down here in Auckland, New Zealand, and so at the CHEP, so CHEP CHEP is their Auckland, just the Auckland location. It's a big multinational pallet supplier, for like shipping goods around the pallets. So they've been like super busy all through the whole pandemic thing because of the reliance on shipping and supply lines and all that kind of stuff. And they've been overworked. They get paid barely anything, whatever. It's most of their workers are like Pacific immigrants who are like most of the employees there come from a background and like they come from poorer areas and things like that, and they are just like a group that it's like that thing that gets classed as unskilled labor, so they always get taken advantage of. But there's no such thing as unskilled labor. Everyone here knows that, whatever. It's just like they're seen as kind of like an expendable workforce or whatever. But so the CHIP workers, the first union members, were actually able to prove that maybe they're not so expendable, because they went on an indefinite strike. And it went on, I can't remember exactly how long it went on. It was like, maybe it was like, I think it was like a week or two. They started by just doing like one day at a time, like last month. But but then they got everything they asked for. They got pay increases, so they went from being like at like minimum wage all the way up to at minimum a living wage. Some of them even higher.
Sweet.
They get their wages get back paid to the pay rise. So for hours that they've already worked, since they started kind of bargaining or whatever, they get paid. And so they're locked in further increases down the track over the year as well. So they're going to be getting, like pay rises and things like that. And also everyone that striked gets like a sign-on bonus as well. So that's really awesome as well. That and First Union were able to help them negotiate for that. So it's kind of like, when you like it's not always like an attractive idea to a worker, especially if you're seen as expendable or whatever, to join in on a strike action, whatever like that. But I think, being able to bargain for things like that, like the sign-on bonuses for people that engaged in the strike and stuff, is actually like, like a pretty cool thing to be like, actually, if we do this, we're not just going to get paid for the time that we didn't work or whatever, but, we're going to get a bonus as well and stuff. So that was really cool, and it was like, I think all of the striking members were all Samoan as well. So like typically, I would say a pretty stepped on group in terms of like I would say like low wage employment and stuff. Like it's kind of like yeah. Like I mean, and this is all Pacifica immigrants to New Zealand. There is like a huge shitty kind of thing there with the way that New Zealand kind of uses like the Pacific labor force, specifically people that move over from the islands and are like sending money back to their families at home and stuff. We can probably even touch on a lot of that when we're talking about imperialism later. There's a lot of like Pacific imperialism from New Zealand that kind of captures a lot of these smaller nations as like a captive labor force, and also for like extraction and stuff like that, like so many resources. There's New Zealand definitely would not be the way it is now, or have anything that it does. Well, it just would not be the same place without various extraction projects all over the Pacific. So so that's the first thing. So awesome to all the great work to all the CHIP workers and First Union who helped them with that.
Solidarity.
Yeah. I think that's pretty awesome. There was a lot of, in kind of New Zealand Twitter, there was a lot of stuff going around Twitter, people donating to their strike fund and all that kind of stuff. So it's awesome to see that come through. And what do we got next? We got
New York Times tech workers. Do you want to read? You can read all these if you want, Tim. I don't mind.
Oh, you can do this one if you want.
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
All right,
I'll give it a
let's
go.
go.
Okay,
Let's go.
right, here
I
we
believe
go.
in you.
Are you ready for this one?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. New York Times tech workers vote to certify union. Now, I think that this is a really important union vote, right? Because tech workers tend to really have a shit time in general, and there's not a lot of unions that support them, right? It says here the ratification, which about 8% of ballots in favor, make it the largest tech union in the United States with collective bargaining rights. Oh, okay, so I might be wrong about that. There is some tech unions, but
so,
I think it...
yeah. So the thing is, like, for collective bargaining rights and stuff, you actually have to get approved by what is it? It's like the NLRB, the National Labor Review Board.
Yeah.
So you can form a union, and your workplace can like recognize your union and stuff, but to technically have the collective bargaining rights and stuff, you have to kind of you need signed up with the NLRB and be approved by them. And that's like a whole other process. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah. Tech workers at the New York Times on Thursday voted in favor of certifying their union in a National Labor Relations Board election, making it one of the biggest tech unions in America. The workers voted in favor 404 to 88, which is that's pretty big. Those 88 workers, I don't know, they must just really like, I don't know, licking boot or whatever, just weird. Or maybe that, I don't know. Obviously, I'm being a bit flippant here. There's every chance that they could have been targeted by anti-union, union.
Yeah, well, like that. We had a big teachers strike here a little while back, and there were teachers that were anti-union and stuff, and they were on the news saying, because they interview the anti-union people on the news, right? And they were, saying they were like, oh, I just think that I could like bargain better for myself instead of, like signing up. I don't want to pay union fees and shit, which is like all kind of like garbage or whatever. But there are people out there that do hold those views.
They're free thinkers.
They're wrong.
Free thinkers, yeah. That's right.
But no, but there are people out there that might be opposed to it for various reasons or whatever. But yeah.
So let me get into this. I'm sorry, I have to get around this New York Times bullshit. Okay, I'm here. We're just elated and really soaking in what this means, not only for us as tech workers at the Times and for the New York Times, but also for the tech industry as a whole, said Nosli Samadzadeh, a senior software engineer. I think this is going to be the start of a wave of organizing in the tech industry. I think that's what I was thinking about before when I said like it's rare to get like a tech industry based union, because I've had like people in my chat before be like, yo, I work in like tech and it's really shit for unions, and we get literally overwhelmed by the hours that we have to work and stuff, and I actually know someone in my community who was on call like literally all night on Saturday night, and he was so fucking pissed off like about like the pay and stuff. He was like saying, I hope the fucking pay is worth it. So yeah, really important for the tech industry. Ms. Samadzadeh said the union was eager to bargain a contract around issues similar to what the newsroom unit has been fighting for. Issues around pay, diversity, and equity. A strong contract to make our workplace more fair. Danielle Rotar, a Times spokeswoman, said the Times look forward to working with the union to establish a contract. Interesting choice of words. We're looking forward to working with the union. Okay, all right. That's, we'll see, I guess. We continue to believe this election process was critical, so our colleagues could learn more about the union, hear both sides of the argument, and ultimately make an informed decision, she said. So that's all sounding really good. It's they got a huge amount of bargaining rights there. It's like an overwhelming vote. The time it's saying here, Times management has violated federal workplace laws by preventing some employees from showing support for the union as well. So there you go. I was kind of right about those 88 people there. It's they're obviously they've been targeted by or they've been prevented from showing support. Like, I don't know, maybe they've been forced to, because companies do all sorts of shady shit, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you'll go into like training for a business. Like when years and years ago, I worked at an ISP for a little while in Australia, and when we had our like induction training and stuff, they played us like an anti-union video. It was like, you know, if someone comes up and talks to you about this kind of stuff, tell your manager, you know, and all this shit. And this was like seen as a pretty like progressive business, you know. So it's like they do kind of make it part of the kind of culture to be anti-union or whatever. And so
not to mention that anti-union is kind of like the status quo for the world. Like some areas of the world are more than others, right? But like generally, I mean, capitalism exists everywhere. And it's, with the exception of maybe a few countries, I would imagine that they're pretty heavily anti-union. So regardless of the specific training videos, I think there's also just, you know, your indoctrination into a capitalist society and how that naturally lends itself to be this anti-union thing. I don't know if anyone in chat, I think a lot of you have seen it because you have shown it to you, but if you're not familiar with this type of like anti-union training, I'm sure the workers, like you described, workers receive it, but like management also receives it to like, I know that Amazon management like video was leaked onto YouTube, and it showed some really it's really disgusting, but it's also unfortunately the standard for how capitalism operates, and that managers are expected to like keep note of who their workers are socializing with, and if you see them socializing with some other people, then you take note. You make sure you like take a note on that. If you hear them saying things like living wage or something about like rights or something, that you need to like take note of that. And like, so there's all these indicators that your management is trying to look for. And then there's also the workers that are taught, hey, unions don't help you, unions hurt you. And then there's also like the actual direct anti-union actions of firing a union organizer or firing people that are talking about unionizing. So, and then there's the fact that, you know, we need money to live, and a lot of us don't have the luxury of being fired. So there's a lot of pressures everywhere. So it doesn't have to be specifically someone got to a person and that's why they didn't join a union. I think it's just the entire climate of capitalism lends people, you know, gives people this sense of no, maybe I shouldn't join a union.
Yeah. And I think in tech circles as well, there's like, you know, especially like when you start getting into like games and startups and stuff, there's a lot of like libertarian kind of bullshit going on there that a lot of people have to deal with. And I mean, like, it's actually, speaking of tech unions and stuff like that, like the games industry has been like efforts to unionize the games industry has been like fucking wild, like for years and years. Like there's been so many attempts, like going back decades, people trying to unionize at like EA and like, you know, like Blizzard and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, you know, like they get serious anti-union propaganda just like at every level of the company, you know. And it's like, it's one of those things where as an employee, if you're watching this shit, you're gonna be like thinking, man, like, why is it that my bosses hate this stuff so much? Like, what is it? Yeah, like what are they? What secrets are they trying to prevent me from? You know, like it's like a mystery, like in a TV show or something like that. You know, you'd be like a little bit intrigued. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how like you might just be going through like a normal induction. They're telling you like the health and safety and and then like kind of like an anti-Donna style skit. A guy just comes out and goes, "Don't ever join a union. Don't let me ever catch you joining a union." You know.
Yeah, I remember the one that I got when I was working for this ISP in Australia was they were literally talking about hazards around the workplace. So like, okay, if there's like a power cable hanging from the roof and it's sparking and all this kind of shit like that, and then it's like, oh, what if someone approaches you about joining a union? It's like, okay, all right, is that how dangerous? Like, is that the same thing?
That's what it is.
Like, completely different thing, you know.
It could give you an electric shock joining a union.
I know, yeah. That's what happens.
It happened to me like, as soon as I donated my first
union meeting. Everyone holds hands, you stand in a circle, and then the people at both ends, they just grab the sparking cable.
Yeah,
and everyone gets shocked together, and that's what communism is.
That's why it's called a union, because it's all together at once.
I kind of want to. I know it's from Rob Rousseau, so there's that angle, but I kind of want to see this video that he.
We're shouting out Rob already.
I know, it's already.
Like half an hour in.
I know.
Yeah.
It says genuine corporate anti-union propaganda is indistinguishable from parody, and I think this is for Walmart, and I kind of want to watch this real fast. It's only 2 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. All right.
Russell, I was just telling Julian Dane here, the Walmart listens to our associates.
Sure does. Mr. Walton said over and over again, Listen to our associates. They are our best idea generators.
Huh. Hey, Russell, you ever had an idea they went for?
Not yet. Donna has.
Yeah, but she's management.
Well, she wasn't management when she hit on a way to reorganize our receiving paperwork. She was a stalker then.
Not too long ago either.
Now we're using her way in every Walmart. Right, Donna?
Right. You see, the company wants to hear new ideas. For instance, the people greeters in our stores who make customers feel welcome, that was an associate's idea.
It sounds like employees, associates, they're listened to.
And without going through union politicians.
Of course not. But you see, management recognizes our associates. We know that our associates' ideas are good. Associates even came up with suggestions about our work schedules.
And they use some of them right away.
Russell, you know of any union that works like that?
Of course not. All unions work at is taking a cut out of my pay.
Yeah, take your money and spend it to help in political campaigns. You help people I don't even vote for.
Me too. But they're never gonna do that to me again.
You were in a union?
Yep, but no more. You see, I'm one of the hundreds of thousands of former union workers, or members. I'm one of the thousands of reasons unions are getting so much smaller.
Well, Dane was in a union too.
Yeah, I was in a union. You know, where I worked, union rules made it so we couldn't even rush a shipment. And we kept on losing customers and money till the truck line shut down. You know, a lot of jobs, more union jobs, they're all gone.
You people at the truck line, you voted for a union.
Voted for a union? No, there never was a vote. The union got enough cards signed and demanded the company recognize the union without an election.
Without an election? I mean, didn't you have cards to sign saying that you wanted a union election?
Yeah, and I signed a card just to get them off my back. You know, I thought there had to be a vote, and I'd vote no, but I sure got fooled.
Man. That happened.
Like 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, they didn't allow us to.
That associate was Barack
I like how
Obama.
They're complaining about how like the unions stopped us from overworking ourselves, and so that led to bad things, and so that's why unions are bad, because we should be able to overwork employees and make money for the company, or else like the idea, what this is, I mean, there's so much to criticize here, but one of my favorite things here is that the employees keep recognizing the company they work for as like their company, and like our company can't make money, our company is going to go out of business with all these. It's like, no, that you got to stop thinking that way. And by the way, later on in our imperialism talk, I know we'll touch on it, but y'all have to stop thinking you're also the state. You're not the state.
Oh,
and you're
God.
not the company.
Holy shit. And yeah, absolutely. And also stop thinking that other people are representations of the state in their country as well. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, a state is an idea. It's not people, you know what I mean? It's none of us. We literally aren't a state. It's an absurd concept like money, right? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So
let's do the next
what's the
story,
next one?
I think.
Oh right, yeah, the Musk one. So yeah, so Musk
I didn't know
tweeted
about
out
this.
this was like just like last week or whatever. You know, like so the UAW, the United Auto Workers, he actually said, he was like, yeah, come down, you know, like come on and have a vote and see, you know, if you're gonna unionize or whatever like that. Like, come on, feel free, sort of thing. Like the super like positive, like I invite them to come on down, which is like totally at odds with his, you know, like his fucking life of anti-union kind of work. So they've been trying for a long time, the UAW, whatever, to get like a presence in a lot of Tesla factories, or plants, whatever they call them. But yeah, it's like it's been going for a long time. He's been kind of hamstringing them at every step, just like, I mean, with every other kind of union that's ever tried to like set up within 6 feet of Elon Musk. But yeah. So there's all the stuff that's been going on. Just recently, there was all that stuff about like the racism, the homophobia, all that kind of stuff all throughout Tesla. So they're saying that they want to kind of, you know, like they want to make it less hostile workplace. They want to bargain for, you know, they want to be able to bargain for better pay, all that kind of stuff, which, you know, Musk has kind of denied them. But yeah, so it kind of, I feel like from him, it's just like this move where he's trying to put on a face of, you know, being like the cool tech guy or whatever, being a little bit more agreeable, being like, I'm not anti-union, like, come on down. But let's see, like,
he is so
yeah,
anti-union.
exactly. Let's see how, like, what he actually does.
And by the way,
what is?
I think they only need like 30% to actually become, you know, like a unionized workplace or whatever. But which I don't think is like very, like, that's, you know, I feel like that would probably be pretty easy. But yeah. So I don't know. Like, I think like all the experts are saying that they think that it'll probably get done. You know, if they actually do get in there, get people to sign the cards and stuff, it'll happen. So yeah, but we'll see. He's probably gonna invent some way to try and stop it from happening or whatever. But
what's really frustrating,
I don't know. I think it would be good though if they do actually get the chance to do it, and they can start unionizing all these fucking, you know, all these Tesla death factories or whatever. But yeah, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. One of the frustrating things about this is that this is kind of the preferential treatment that these assholes get, is that, like, it's similar to like philanthropic shit that they'll do. Well, they will do awful thing after awful thing after awful thing after awful thing, and then they will then send 5 laptops to a school or something, or they'll do this gesture here. And this is the thing that I'm sure, if anyone ever says, hey, Elon Musk is anti-worker, anti-union, I'm sure some Musk head is gonna be like, actually, how could he be if this? How? And that's going to be their garbage line. I hope it's not, because it's going to be very annoying, but
yeah. I feel like Musk like breeds a really particular kind of weirdo. Like, you know, like this, like, kind of like the Elon Musk fans are like just incredibly bizarre. Like, I've seen some so bad that I've wanted to screenshot them on Twitter, but like I've resisted because I'm like, this is too, like, you know, like, it's too much of a dunk, you know, like this is too embarrassing.
It's easy, it's low hanging fruit.
Yeah. Still, one of the weirdest accounts I've ever found on Twitter was someone that was like they were like a Marxist, well, they referred to themselves as like a, you know, like a Marxist proletarian feminist, but their vibe was they were like an Elon Musk fan, and all of their stuff was talking about how Elon Musk was cracking down on the child sex trafficking trade, and you know, that he was the only person that was taking this on. And I was like, what? This is like an ultimate like found a guy, you know, like, I just found a guy or whatever. But I was like reading through it, and I'm like, I'm not sure if this person, like, I don't think this person is in a good headspace. I think maybe this is like you know, something weird going on. But it was deranged, and they were like tweeting at people saying that, you know, like, because, and it was all based on the fact that he called that guy in Thailand like a pedo or whatever like that.
That's right.
Like, this is him standing up. He's taking them down, and I was
okay. Like, yeah, oh, I'll tell you what the truth is about that person, Tim. They're 12 years old. Yeah. That's the truth.
Oh no, they weren't. Like, they weren't. They were an account. We had mutuals. They were a fully grown adult person. Posted pictures, links to all those kind of stuff, and it was just like, okay, I'm swear, like, maybe this person is like in the middle of an episode or something like that. Like, I can't in good faith like dunk on this person.
No,
but it was
I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah. But it was like choice. You know, like, really weird kind of like Musk like cult thing. But anyway,
it's so sad that like child trafficking has become this kind of almost immediate red flag for this person is not all there, like, in terms of, I mean, I don't mean that in like an ableist kind of way. I mean like I'm just talking about
they're just not connected to the,
and it sucks because child trafficking is a thing and it's a problem, and like it matters.
Absolutely.
But like, when I hear child trafficking, I think somebody is reaching at the most inflammatory thing they can think of, which is sex trafficking of children or something. And then that's is the thing that you are supporting if you don't support the things that this person supports. Like, if you don't like Elon Musk, you are pro-child sex trafficking. I can't believe that.
Yeah. And that's like a QAnon thing as well, right? And we had that down here at the convoy down at Parliament and stuff like that. Like, people, you know, claiming that they were, you know, like, doing the work against child sex trafficking, and that, you know, kind of protest thing was all about that, where it's like, no, like, you're not doing the work. You're just in Facebook comments. Just like there are people out there that are doing the work, but what you're doing right now is not it. And it's like as soon as you kind of criticize them or whatever, they're like, oh look, this person is part of the the pedo elite or something like that. It's like, and then like you peel off a couple layers and they get everything from like some. Like the guy who ran 8chan, and he actually was like, part of, like doing the bad stuff.
Wasn't he like supposedly Q, like the Q guy?
Yeah.
Oh, really? The guy who...
But we think he's probably the guy, the Q guy.
So not the original Q, but the guy that took over. And
okay.
Yeah. But and there's like heaps of stuff like that, or like how like all the Trump being implicated and all the Epstein stuff and all that. It's just like, holy shit, like there's.
Yeah,
so
you got this so wrong, my friend. Literally, like, what are you talking about?
This is like a huge tangent to go from Elon Musk to like QAnon, pedo, whatever.
It's related.
It is. I mean, like, like if we start talking about the Epstein stuff, hey. Anyway, what else have we got in the news? I'm sure there was something else.
This is the guy, by the way.
One
this is the supposed
final
actual
guy
behind
yeah.
Wait, what? Hold up, I can't see the stream. What's going on?
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy right here. Supposedly, the guy. This is supposedly Q.
This is the guy that like all the stuff, like all the Pizzagate stuff, all that kind of shit, all comes back from this guy. And
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's Jim Watkins and Ron Watkins together, and if you look them up, like they're both horrific people. They've basically done everything that Q has accused other people of doing, and it's like,
of course they have.
It's wild.
Just like seriously, just like imagine that guy on the internet posting, laughing maniacally, like posting, like that guy was probably doing like Pepe when it was like super a right wing. Like dog whistle, well, it still is used as a right-wing dog whistle by some people, but like, when it was like the most popular with, just really embarrassing, like so embarrassing. Anyway,
So, before we got another like 10 minutes or so before
we have one more
bring
topic
Lena
we can
in.
go through, the tube strike.
Oh yeah. Cool. So this is it's really hard to find out info about this. So maybe if someone in the chat is in London, they might know, because so the RMT Union website is the only site that I could find that didn't talk about it as like in super negative kind of like, all the media stuff about it is like chaos in London, like as tube workers walk out and all this kind of shit, and it's hard to find out what the situation is, but it seems like it wasn't like an indefinite strike, but they're planning strike days, and I think they did the 1st and the 3rd where the workers just walked off and shut down the tube, which is cool because usually like that's what the pallet workers that we were looking at earlier did, where they started by just doing a day here and there and being like, okay, we're just not going to work on this day, and then kind of just like as a little thing to be like, this is what happens when we're not at work, and if you don't listen to us, these periods are going to become prolonged. So I think that's the situation what's been going on, but like I said, it's been really hard to find out.
Rob Rousseau in the chat points out that yes, the British media is going absolutely mental, saying that Putin and Russia are behind the union action in the tube strikes because obviously Russia is communist and unions are communist.
But like this is like what I said, like everything else about it, aside from this RMT union, RMT are the union that responsible for this strike. Everything else about it is like just deranged, like, oh, it's just chaos, it's madness, like how could they do this to the people of London and stuff, and it's like it's wild. And so they've been actually kind of there's been like a bit of back and forth with the mayor Sadiq Khan of like, and this has been back and forth for a little while now, where he says like, don't strike, I'm trying to sort out like a long-term plan, that'll be better for you guys or whatever, and they're saying like, no, you're just like you're just you're talking crap or whatever like that. This isn't like, we know what we want and this is what we're gonna do or whatever. And but it's like kind of it seems like it's all posturing from Khan. So yeah, I don't know. So interesting. We'll see how it develops. But yeah, I mean, basically, what they've been told is that there was going to be massive layoffs and pay cuts. I think they were either going to lose all or a lot of their pension, just stuff like that, you know. And these are people that have been keeping the public transport in London running through, you know, the pandemic, through all this kind of stuff that's been going on. Like, they should be getting paid more, but instead they're like, yeah, okay, so down the bottom here it says at least 600 job cuts, a raid on their pensions, and yeah, so look, if it's tube workers being told to take the hit for the political failures of City Hall and the DFT, which is the issue at the heart of the dispute. So yeah,
it's not exactly related. I think this did happen in London, though. Okay. So people in the chat might have heard of Belly Mujinga. Belly Mujinga was a ticket officer in London, and she was spat at by someone. Now, Belly Mujinga was a woman of color, and you know, famously, you know, get fucking absolutely shat on in places of work, especially places where there's like a lot of footfall and stuff like that. And Belly Mujinga literally got spat at and died of coronavirus.
Wow.
Yeah. During the pandemic, and you know, and people are still asking for justice for Belly Mujinga, because this was clearly like someone has spat on it. Like, if you're gonna spit on someone during a pandemic, you know what you're doing in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody's being told, like, wear a mask, don't lick door handles, don't kiss anyone, our government was telling us not to fuck anybody. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you know, it's so obviously like a racist incident. And yeah, like I said, not exactly a tube worker, but absolutely associated with you know, the UK rail work, UK transport and stuff like that. It's absolutely. And I assume most tube workers have you know, experienced similar abuses and stuff like that. So
and it's just like, it's wild, like during a pandemic, like places like, you know, not just like, you know, like train stations and stuff, but the actual, you know, on the subway, on the trains themselves. That's just like the last place you want to be during a pandemic, you know? And it's like these people have been there the whole time, making sure everything fucking still works, you know? It's wild.
So I want to briefly, before we invite our guest on to talk, I want to briefly touch on the trans situation, the trans situation in Texas, and to remind people that Texas is currently genociding trans people, trans kids, but more largely just say trans people, because I don't think that the direct attack of trans kids and all of anyone associated with them, anyone associating and allowing trans kids to exist, attacking all those people, I don't think is just strictly going to affect just the trans kids, as you can imagine. And so if you're not familiar, chat, very briefly, Governor Abbott of Texas has announced that puberty blockers are a form of puberty blockers is administered to children, trans kids, is a form of I'm not saying this, he's saying this, that it's a form of child abuse. And so that he said that the parents of those children need to be investigated as if they are child abusers. Any sort of licensed professional working with those kids, such as doctors, teachers, nurses, all those people are also arguably child abusers if they work with these kids and don't report those kids. And then anyone in the general population would also be liable and to be reprimanded for having contact with these kids and not reporting them. The liability would be something like a fine or even as much as criminal charges. So it's really, really, really disgusting what Governor Abbott is doing, and anyone who agrees with him, even like anyone who has a hand in it. And it's actually led to, ironically enough, one of the workers of the family, what is it called? Family, whatever, Child Protective Services in Texas, whatever acronym they use. One of the workers of the Child Protective Services is now being investigated by other workers of Child Protective Services, because they're investigating that worker for child abuse because they have a trans daughter. I think it's a daughter, a trans child. And what's extremely predictable, and I think that a lot of you pretty much saw this one coming, is This has nothing to do with puberty blockers. Not in the rule, in the investigation, not a single line, and the ACLU has covered it. Nothing has been mentioned of puberty blockers. It's merely this person has a trans child. Now we're investigating. And that's of course what it's about. It's about trying to extinguish transness. No matter what excuse you provide, oh, puberty blockers, oh, bathrooms, oh, whatever excuse you give, it's just about transphobia. It's just about genociding trans people away. So it's a pretty dire situation, Texas. I know that a judge stopped one of those investigations from occurring, which is great, but didn't stop any of the other ones, which sucks. So it's still happening, and it's very real. And so I just wanted to announce that's so far what's happening. If anyone has any news, I've been trying to keep up with it, but it's kind of I'm not the best at keeping up with unfolding events. I usually rely on people in my community to help me out with that. So if any of you have any updates, feel free to let me know right now, or maybe even like on stream tomorrow or whatever, because I think we all need to have our fingers on the pulse of this. And not to mention, I would like to shout out and congratulate Keffels, who is a Twitch streamer on this platform, a trans streamer, and they raised over $50,000 in the past 24 hours for trans youth, which is really incredible.
Please go and show some love. Please go and show some love to Keffels. Absolutely phenomenal streamer.
I'm just very, 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 very proud of them.
Sophie is thinking as well about doing a fundraiser as well.
Yeah,
I don't know
I've been talking about it for a while.
confirmed.
I never knew exactly which organization to use, so I might just copy what Keffels did and do the same thing. That's always the decision you have to make. It's like, okay, how are we going to get this done? How are we going to do it? And also might I mention that like a lot of the funds being raised, I don't know about that specific organization that Keffels used, but other organizations I've seen, and I've actually been involved in the past, because guess what, chat? Texas didn't just start being transphobic. The South didn't just start being transphobic, nor is the South exclusively transphobic, to be fair. I don't want it to be like South bad, but lots of GoFundMes, more formal and more casual, like as an individual, people sometimes run them, are often done for trans people to get out of this part of America, because it is just so horrible. And so that's something that has always been going on, and especially now it seems like there's a lot of people that are now actively trying to relocate, like parents trying to actively move because they're like, I love my kid, and now we're not allowed to exist in this state unless my kid stops being trans, or I start trying to oppress my kid. And so it's very, very horrible. Trevor Project. Oh, thanks. Hey, Mel. Hi, Mel. Trevor Project.
Mel.
Thank you, Mel.
Yeah.
Mel in the chat saying Trevor Project, and also Keffels was raising money for, what was it, Equality Texas? Yeah, Equality Texas Foundation. And I think someone else dropped this in the chat earlier, the Trans Family Network. I think you can donate to these. They are a volunteer-run non-profit dedicated to connecting volunteers across the country with members of the trans community in need. So you can check them out at transfam.net as well. And there's lots of people. There's lots of people who are doing fundraisers. Keep an eye out on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter if you're not already. We're going to retweet stuff like that if we see it. So yeah. There's lots of ways that you can help, and it's incredibly important to be very, very aware of it. Yeah.
Cool.
Wicked.
Not cool, but
sweet.
Good. We got
not cool at all. No.
Yeah.
We shall not make excuses for the terror. cannot see.